on Track with Hyesha Barrett on Jumpstart from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Oman. You're listening to Jumpstart on 90.4 live here in Studio 1 at the top of the hill of Medina Al-Alam. Talal al-Shahri here with you. I'm joined now by Tuqa al-Lawati and, of course, Master Life Coach Hyesha Barrett, since it is Wednesday, Wellness Wednesday time. Morning, ladies.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I would ask how we're feeling today, but I hope, Yani, that we're all stressed. Right?
We are all stressed.
So
I'm feeling the stress.
We can work towards alleviating the stress, which is our topic today.
It is our topic for today. I thought it was quite apt to talk about that, seeing as there's a collective, stress that's going on around the world at the moment. So I thought it'd be good to just discuss it and, to just help people to sort of understand that this is stress is a part of life, of course. However, what we can try and control the most is what we're going through on our internal world. We're not able to control anything that goes on around, not anything, but, especially the world matters that are happening now. We can't control those. But what we can control is how we feel and how we react. So that's why I thought it'd be quite a good conversation to have today.
Okay, and how are you going to tackle it?
Let's talk a little bit about what stress is, and let's talk about the nervous system, and then let's talk about fight or flight and rest and digest, which is part of the nervous system. And then we'll talk about the causes and the symptoms, and then we'll talk about the treatment and what we can do to alleviate stress before we get into the stress mode and what we can do when we are stressed.
Okay, fantastic. Well, guys, you can find this whole episode later on our SoundCloud, adamanafam.om, plus previous episodes if you type in Wellness Wednesday. Before we pop in, we have a message that's just come in from one of our listeners. Just want to say a quick good morning to Sina, who just texted in, and thanks to everybody who's been part of the show today. So Hyesha and Tuqa, the floor is yours.
Okay, great. So nervous system work and regulating our emotions in order to make sure that we can alleviate our stress is key. As we mentioned, it's not easy to, understand what's going on in the world, but what we can do is understand our internal world. And we need to understand, guys, that our nervous system is composed of over 7 trillion nerves. That's a lot of nerves, that's a lot that that gets activated when we're stressed. So we need to understand, 7 trillion, I can't even understand that number, it's massive. But that affects our body in so many ways that we can't even understand. And so our body is made up of a nervous system. It's our autonomic nervous system. And that is, in essence, our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight, and our parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest. I always find that's a little bit of a ironic way of looking at things if they call it a sympathetic nervous system as fight or flight, because actually it's not sympathetic at all. But that's the way that they describe it, and that is the scientific term of calling your nervous system the sympathetic, which is fight or flight, and parasympathetic, which is rest and digest. And we'll come into more of that in a minute. But just wanted to explain to you a little bit more about the nervous system, what it is. It's in essence our operating system. Look at it in some way like an electrical system where it fires all of the information from our brain to our body and from our body to our brain. It's the information highway that carries all this information around this beautiful physical body of ours. So in essence, it's our electrical charge. The nervous system is how we facilitate our power. And so when it's fired up and when it's activated, we're on form. We feel good about ourselves. But when it's closed off, when it's shut down, we feel disempowered. We feel and physically like we hunch over. So it really does affect us in so many ways. And I also wanted to mention as well exactly what stress was. It's the body's natural survival response. When we perceive a threat, whether it's real or even imagined, our body doesn't know that in essence. But that's what happens. The nervous system gets activated. Our heart rate increases, our breathing becomes shallow, the cortisol and the adrenaline rise, our blood flows to our muscles, our digestion slows down. This is pretty much what happens to us. Originally designed to protect us from danger back in the day, with saber-toothed tigers. Nowadays, what happened in this digital world, it's emails, it's traffic, it's finances, it's relationships, it's expectation. And so short-term stress is actually good for us because it's quite adaptive and it helps us to move forward. I hear a lot of people say, yeah, but Hyesha, I can only really work, when I'm stressed. I can only really get things done when I'm stressed. However, I would beg to differ and say that actually it's harmful because long term, you're not going to be able to achieve what you exactly want to achieve. You will be able to do in short bursts, but chronic stress is very, very, very harmful. And so we have to also realize that stress isn't the enemy, but chronic unmanaged stress is. And as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, we will come to how to treat it afterwards. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the causes. So why do we get stressed? We get stressed mainly because it's, work pressures. It could be financial strain. It could be relationship tensions. It could be even health concerns, lack of sleep. Overcommitments, could be lack of boundaries, internal pressures. All of these things heighten our sense of stress. And we have to also realize that it's often psychological. It's not only physical as well. And that can really further exasperate it. Some other signs and symptoms that we can also think about is when we get headaches, or when we get a tightened jaw, or when we get tightened shoulders. I've realized recently that I'm walking around with really tightened shoulders, and I have to be aware of that. To just go, I should just take a big, nice, deep breath, and just loosen those shoulders, and instantly I feel better. And then after a couple of minutes, those shoulders start rising again. But these are amazing symptoms that your body is telling you. It could be gut issues, chronic fatigue, insomnia. We were just talking about it now. Took a bit before the show about sleep problems. It really does affect our stress levels as well. We do know that when we have lack of sleep, it is a form of torture. It really does affect us in so many ways, and it can create heart palpitations. It can definitely weaken our immunity as well. And so these are the things that, if we continuously have these over time, it really, really can affect us in so many, many, many ways.
I'd like to know the difference between situational stress and chronic stress.
So situational stress is, let's say something happens right now in your work environment or in your day-to-day life or whatever. That's situational. It happens, it's then and there. And usually that's a little burst. That's something like, okay, oh my God, I'm stressed right now because my boss has sent me an email and I have to reply back, as an example. Or I've had a fight with my spouse and I feel really stressed inside my body. And so that's something where you're aware of, your body goes into fight or flight, and you're either pushing against that, the grain, or you're fleeing from that. We'll come to that in a minute. And so that is more situational compared to chronic, where it's always ongoing. It's continuously flowing through your body. You always have the stress that is going through your body. You're feeling the adrenaline pumping. You're feeling the cortisol rising. You're never actually resting and digesting, and your body needs that. If we think about it in the caveman days, or with our ancestors, they would go out, they would hunt, they would go and forage. They'd be stressed, of course, and they would be able to run short bursts. But you can't be running forever. You have to lie down, you have to relax, you have to go to your cave, you have to eat your food, and it takes that over days. And then you can build up your strength again and go out.
But how does a person get to a point where they develop chronic stress?
When they don't manage their stress, when they don't alleviate their stress, when they have, constant stresses that are compounding daily. So it could be where you have a situation with your family, but you're not alleviating that stress. You're not releasing that stress. You're not going out and doing the things that you should do in order to release that. And then you come home, you're still stressed, and then you get an email from someone from work, as an example. Then that compounds on that. And you don't release that. You're getting further exasperated. Then you go out and you hear the news. And you hear, oh my God, what's happening in the world? I can't control anything that's happening in the world. What's going on? I'm so stressed by that. And so it's a compounding effect that you're not
going around carrying it with you without realizing.
Not realizing, and then you're not taking the time in your day to get rid of it, to alleviate it, to release it. And I'm not saying that you can get rid of stress completely all the time, of course not, especially not in this day and age. However, there are tools and techniques that one has to do on a daily basis to make sure that you are alleviating that stress, that you're releasing that stress, so that when stress does come about, because it will, we're always going to get stressed. It's just a matter of fact about life.
Especially now, I feel like the world is designed in such a way where not having chronic stress is, it's abnormal. It's not the norm.
It's not the norm to not be stressed. Yeah, absolutely. Especially with what's going on right now, which is why it's even more important to understand it, to be aware of it, and to alleviate it. Because if we don't, we will end up in a depression. We'll end up with so many problems with our bodies that we're not even aware of. So it's especially important in this day and age, to make sure that you do release the stress as much as possible.
Right.
So, excuse me. Those were a few of the symptoms that we mentioned. We can go into a little bit more of what they are as well. As we mentioned, those are the physical ones, but we can go into the emotional ones or the mental ones, and that's irritability, that's anxiety, that's feeling overwhelmed. It could be brain fog, procrastination, definitely emotional reactivity as well. If you realize that you're in a situation where someone is talking to you and your outburst or your anger or your irritability doesn't merit the situation itself, there is something going on. And usually that happens with a compounding effect. It's like the steam blowing off, from the kettle. It's like you've gone through so many things in your day, but then your husband or your friend just says something that's actually very small, which you wouldn't normally get upset about, but then you blow your lid.
Very low tolerance.
Very low tolerance. And then obviously at that point you have a lot of chronic stress that is in your body. You have to release that out. And usually when we blow, we feel better afterwards, right?
Right.
Yeah. So it is a matter of making sure that you do that you alleviate the stress as we go throughout our day. So that's in essence what it is. We can go into fight or flight and into rest and digest as well before we go on a break and before we go into how to alleviate that as well. So the fight or flight response is basically the sympathetic nervous system at play. Your pupils will dilate, your heart rate will increase, you will breathe faster, your blood diverts from your digestive tract to your muscles because you're in essence trying to run away. So you're either fighting, the metaphorical tiger, or you're flighting, you're running away. And so when we're able to fight, it means that you're able to fight back, you're able to argue back, you're able to physically, be strong, which helps. But then there could be situations where you're not stronger than the other person, or you can't shout back at your boss, or you can't do something that will show a side of you that maybe you don't want to show. Then you have to run away. You have to flee the scene. Maybe you have to go and hide. Maybe you have to go and do something that's will retract you from the situation. And that is good. However, if we do too much of the flighting and too much of the fighting, obviously it's going to really exasperate our feelings as well. So we don't want that either. What we do want is that we want to be more in the rest and repair. that is more in the parasympathetic nervous system. That is more where your body is repairing itself, it's promoting sleep, it's a healthy digestion, it's slowing your breathing, it's reducing your heart rate, it's stimulating your vagus nerve. And that allows you to just relax. Because when we're agitated, what happens to our breath usually? It's very, very short. And we talked about this last week with Thomas as well, where it gets stuck at the top layer of your lungs. You want it to go down into your diaphragmatic breathing, which is down into your belly, where you can really, really get more oxygen into your cells, where you can really, really calm your body down even more. And so that's in essence what the fight or flight is. We can also see it in relationships, where if you're fighting in relationships and you're actually telling the other person that, oh, you're wrong, or, you know, you're delivering a presentation, or you're pointing fingers at others, or you're stuck in traffic. You know, when you're flighting, it means that you're under threat. And it could be a perceived threat, as I mentioned, or it could be a real threat. And this is where the cortisol, which is released, and our body is saying that we need to fight back. The flight is where we're encountering, you know, like, let's say a dog on when you're running. You have to run away from that. This response comes from when we ran away from the saber-toothed tiger, as I mentioned, and it's an easy way out where we can walk away from that. Here is where there's the adrenaline. It's a perceived threat is more than we can handle, so we run away.
So in this area, how do you regulate yourself?
So in this area, the best way to do it is to just remove yourself from the situation and to try and calm yourself down as much as possible. Not easy as well, especially if you've got a lot going around you. But what you can do is you can remove yourself from the situation and you can just take some nice big deep breaths. You can do some journaling. You can do some shaking, which is Talal's favorite. You can do some, some meditation. So many things that we can do. Some mindfulness tricks as well. That will help us. So I'll come into that after the break. I feel like we need to go on a little break right now. But Talal is also a little bit busy right now. So we'll continue with talking about the treatments that we can go into. So mindfulness, as we mentioned, this is when we develop a greater sense of awareness, where we can reduce our stress levels, where right now, for example, we're in the studio. If I'm stressed, I can look at something and say, okay, I'm going to name 5 things that I see. And then you just name them, literally. And then you can name 5 things that you can smell, 5 things that you can taste, or maybe it's not more than 5, maybe 1 or 2, 5 things that you can hear, and 5 things that you can touch. The main reason why we do that is we want to connect back to our bodies. When we're in fight or flight, it means that we're no longer actually here present. We're disconnected, we're disassociated, we're away. And so what we want to do is that we want to come back into the present moment now. Because when we're in the present moment now, this is where the magic lies. This is where we can actually create change. But oftentimes we're always stuck in the past, or we're always stuck in, anticipating the future. But when we realize that this is now is the only time when we can actually do something, then we can feel more empowered. Then we can actually do something more about it. So mindfulness is a beautiful tool and technique that we can do to become much more connected to our bodies. Other things that you can do is yoga. Actually, last week we had Thomas. 2 weeks ago we had Thomas. Next week we're going to have a yoga expert to come on the show and to talk about yoga and to explain how it helps to calm our nervous system down as well. And it'll be very interesting to talk about all the different yoga techniques as well.
Get on track with Hyesha Barrett on Jumpstart from 8 to 9 a.m.
Good morning, Oman. You're listening to Jumpstart on 90.4 live here in studio numero uno at the top of the hill of Medina Al-Alam. Talal here with you, and it is Wellness Wednesday with Master Life Coach Hyesha Barrett, and of course with us Tuqa Al-Lawatiya of Oman Fam. And today's topic is all about alleviating stress, and we will have this episode available later online at omanfm.om on SoundCloud. Click the link in our bio. So, Hyesha,
Yes.
what is our next step?
So let's continue talking about how we can alleviate. And also one thing that I forgot to mention as well was that there's not only the fight or flight response, there's also the freezing and the fawning response. Have you heard about that one, Tuka?
Not really.
So the fight and flight is when you literally fight back, as I mentioned, and the flighting is when you run away. The freezing is basically when you're stuck. You are neither running or you're neither fleeing. So you're just kind of there like a deer in the headlights sort of thing. And this is usually a response from childhood where, say, you grew up in an abusive household and your parents would shout and argue and would abuse and fight or whatever in front of you. And you as a child were unable to fight back, obviously, because your parents are bigger than you. You can't fight back because it's rude. However, you can't flee either because your parents would be like, stay here, sit in the corner, don't move. And so you learnt to just freeze. You learnt to just, your body is literally here physically, but you're gone. You're no longer here. You're disassociated completely. And you either go into your internal world where you start having imaginary friends, or you start imagining things, or you just completely disassociate. And so we have to understand that is a response that helped you during childhood, but now as an adult, it's a maladaptive behavior that needs to be worked through. So if any of you realize that you do have that response, then that's something that you can definitely help. Awareness, of course, is the first thing to look at, and then you can actually start regulating your emotions, become less of a freezer and more of a, present in your body. A fawner is someone we don't really understand much about fawning, but fawning is where you kind of just become molded into the person. In essence, you become like codependent on them. You become like a people pleaser. You adapt to ways to make sure that you are kind of hidden behind the scenes and you're not seen by anyone. You're not seen by your parents. You're not seen by the people who are around you because it's too scary. And you just try and find ways to make sure that you are the best version of yourself from a young age, to make sure that you're not shouted at or screamed at. And so again, it is another version. Excuse me, my voice is going. Apologies on that. So fawning is...
I really have a feeling that's related to Mogd. He was commenting about how lovely your voice was.
Oh, okay. It really isn't that lovely right now, but thank you so much, Mogd, for your... Actually, it's the first time Mogd has ever given me a nice compliment. Thank you, Mogd. Or is he being... He's being mugged. Okay, he's being mugged. All right. So obviously I don't have a good voice, but thank you, mugged. Anyway, excuse me. So that is in essence the fight, flight, flee, freeze or fawn that we can go through when we are, going through a stress mode. And when we're aware of those, we are able to go, okay, I can alleviate them. So as I mentioned about the alleviation, let's get into that. We talked about mindfulness. We talked about, we started talking about yoga, tai chi, qigong. These are amazing tools to allow you to become more connected to your bodies as well. Because as I mentioned earlier, what happens when we're stressed, we just become vacant. We leave our bodies. We're no longer here. So what we need to do is that we have to become much more connected to our bodies. And so yoga, tai chi, qigong, it improves our relaxation. It improves the harmony with the body. And that really helps us.
I heard about the cold water method as well, splashing your face with water.
So cold water is good. This morning I did a lot of that. That helped me to wake up. But the cold water on the body, I'm not too keen on.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, but some people love it. Some people swear by it. Some people think it absolutely rejuvenates them and re-energizes them. And there is science around that. But I also am of the advocate of heat therapy. I feel like bodies there are some bodies that are very in tune with being cold and they actually love it. There are some that actually love being hot. For example, me, I can't be in cold water. I feel like it has the adverse reaction.
Feeling.
Yeah. So I like saunas, I like jacuzzis, I like steam baths. All of these things help to relax the body and also to allow you to just alleviate that stress. So heat therapy and cold therapy are great as well. Other things, definitely meditation. Meditation is something that I really encourage a lot of us to do. I think it's a key, and there's so much science around meditation nowadays. The more you do it, the more you can relieve the stress from your body, the more you can be connected to your body again to just get rid of all of this stress around you. And meditation is it's not easy, especially for a beginner, because a lot of people say, oh, but I've got too many thoughts, too many things are coming into my head. And meditation isn't about you not thinking. You know, a lot of people think that that's what we should do to meditate. Oh, I'm just going to sit there all zen and just not have any thoughts. It's not about that. It's allowing the thoughts to come and allowing them to go. A bit like clouds, you know, in the sky. And then eventually when you do that, you will come to a point where those thoughts no longer antagonize you. They no longer are there constantly. It is a practice. It is a skill. It's something that you need to do on a daily basis to make sure that you build up those muscles so that you can do it more long term. Start off with 1 minute, then go up to 5 minutes and go up to 10 minutes. I try and do at least 15 minutes every single morning. Some days I can't do it, obviously, but I do know that when I do them, I feel so much stress, so much relief from stress throughout the day. So meditation is beautiful to connect not only to your breath, but also to your body. Lifestyle changes, very, very important. And you just talked about that earlier, about the situations. If you're constantly in a situation where you are stressed, please make sure that you find ways to remove yourself from those situations. I know it's not easy, especially if you live in a household with your family, or if your brother's always antagonizing you, or if you know, there's so many situations, of course. However, what you can do is that you can, you know, at least try and make your bedroom a safe haven. Make sure that you declutter from your room. Make sure that you can have candles, you can have incense. You can do so many things inside your room that, you know, that pushes you away from the rest of the house. Maybe you can start reading more books. Maybe, you know, anything that allows you to be more connected to yourself and less around the people who are antagonizing you. Creating boundaries, of course, will definitely help as well.
Most importantly, don't check your phone after you wake up immediately.
Oh my God, that is a massive stress that a lot of us do.
Especially with the current state of the world.
Absolutely. There's a thing that I heard, which is so true. When you wake up in the morning, Tuka, would you allow 100 people to walk into your room? No. But we do that with our phones. We open our phones pretty much the first thing in the morning. And we look at news, we look at social media, we look at WhatsApp, we look at all the different apps that we have before we even get out of bed. And boom, we have all of this stress on us before we even put our feet on the ground. So I encourage everyone, and we all know this as well. We do know it. We hear about it often, if not all the time. But do we ever do it? No, it's not easy to do. It's not easy to change a habit. But if we try and do it at least every day, wait until 5 minutes till at least you wash your face, until you have a shower, until you spend half an hour after your coffee, and then look at your phone. Then you can get into that practice of going, okay, I'm not allowing everyone else to come into my world. I choose me first. Self-care, self-love, extremely important. These are the things that will allow you to become much more happier. You know, and self-care and self-love is very different to so many people. What self-care practices do you have?
For example, like just taking care of my body, not having like fast food as often.
Beautiful.
Working out.
Yeah. Barbecue can be very, very good for you, though, as long as it's not deep fried, right?
Barbecuing.
Yeah,
Grill.
barbecuing is good.
Stuff.
Yes. What else?
Not checking my phone before I go to bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try not to do that. It throws off your circadian rhythm.
100%. Yes.
So yeah, those are the main things.
Great, beautiful. Any self-love activities that you do?
Anime.
Yeah, my guilty pleasure reality TV shows.
I love reality TV shows as well. Yes, I do that.
I don't understand that with women, man. Like, I know so many highly educated, high-powered women who are just so much smarter than I am, and they come home from being a doctor or a lawyer or a consultant, and they sit down and watch the dumbest reality TV show for 4 hours.
Maybe not 4 hours.
So,
That's a long time.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, I'm telling you.
Wow.
I'm telling you, longer in some cases.
It's their way to
It's so dumb.
to
Nothing.
I
just
know
relax.
somebody who ran out of reality TV, so now they're going back to the early 2000s,
Oh
and they're
my
watching
God.
old reality TV, like grainy camera and everything.
But there's so many reality TV shows. This person's seen it all. Really?
Pretty much.
Oh my God.
It's scary.
Wow.
It's like watching a train wreck. When it's not you, it's like fun to see people being a mess. I don't know.
They're rewatching reality TV.
That's insane.
Rewatching.
Wow, I don't know about that. That's a bit too much, to be honest.
Smart woman, way smarter than I am, who does this thing. Yeah, and I'm in awe of her intellect, and yet great disdain of her choices for what to watch.
I mean, I love watching it because it relaxes me, and it's also interesting to see people's psychology. I know it's heavily edited as well, unfortunately, but I do like to see that, okay, this person thinks this way or this person said this way. It's like, oh, I find it really interesting.
Yeah.
But that's
Analyze
my
human
take.
relationships.
Exactly, yeah. What do you watch, Talal? What do you watch apart from anime?
I don't watch much.
Okay.
Yes. Just move on.
Okay.
Move on.
Obviously, we don't want to go there. Fair enough. Okay, so self-care definitely is good to have guilty pleasures for sure. However, things along the lines of making sure that it's not only like, nails and hair and baths, those are great. However, self-love is really making sure that you're taking care of your internal world, and that is your nervous system regulation. And so things like journaling are beautiful, things like breath work, things like shaking. I know Talal loves that one. Things like grounding. Grounding is beautiful as well. Grounding practices, which means you can just go on the beach, you can just literally be barefoot on grass. It helps you to connect to Mother Earth. It really, like with our shoes nowadays, we're not connected to the earth. So the more that we do that, the more we're telling our bodies to just, let's just be more connected to the ground around us. It relaxes us. Acupuncture is really, really good as well. It helps with the meridians of your body. Massages, amazing. I was just telling you that after the show I'm going to go for a massage. I haven't been one for ages, and I feel like I need to relax. I've been a little bit stressed recently, so I think it's a good way to just,
Doodling. Is
Doodling,
something that I do.
Doodling is great. It is a form of journaling for sure. And journaling isn't necessarily only about you writing your thoughts or your emotions. It can be just a stream of consciousness. It could be just like, I'm feeling angry about this, and you just write it down. It's not necessarily what you've done with your day. And it's not about rereading it afterwards either. Journaling can be where you do reread it, where you know, okay, this is where I was, let's say a week ago, a month ago, a year ago. Where am I now? Or it could be just literally, let me just dump it out of me. And so there's ways to do that. It could be on paper, or and I would prefer pen to paper because it engages with your right hemisphere of your brain. Laptop or on your phone, it really doesn't engage with that hemisphere. I've lost my train of thought there. What was I just saying? Sorry, got a bit of a brain fog. But yeah, so that is journaling. You can either write it down or you can voice it. Mm-hmm. So you can do it on a voice note or you can do it on a voice memo. And so it's about releasing it from your body. The whole key of all of this is to just release so you can feel relief.
Karaoke as well.
Karaoke is great. Oh, do you sing? Do you do karaoke?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I only went a few times. There's one female-only karaoke place here in Oman. So.
Okay. I
gotta know what song. What's your first song that you would choose?
Okay. Britney Spears. I won't say what song, but Britney Spears is my go-to.
Oops, I did it again.
I love Britney Spears. She's amazing.
Yeah.
And she's been through a lot as well, so she must have been through a lot of stress.
Poor thing.
Yeah.
People say she got cloned.
Oh my gosh, really?
There's a conspiracy theory.
It's the new big thing. Cloning. Yeah,
Cloning people.
Didn't they just do that to Jim Carrey? Like they say he just
recently.
got cloned. Aywa.
Okay.
What's your go-to karaoke song, Hyesha Barrett?
Staying Alive. No, not Staying Alive. The other one. No, the other one. Oh my God, my brain really isn't working today, guys.
YMCA?
Not YMCA. The happy one, but it's along the lines of being alive. I've completely forgot the song.
Is it? Dun, 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 dun. Be happy.
I like that song as well. Yes.
For me, I hate to say this, but I remember the very first time I sang karaoke. It was at a friend's house. They had a karaoke machine because they're Filipino. Of course, they must. It's a rite of passage. But
or Chinese. Chinese have
Yep.
karaoke's as well.
So in the end, by Linkin Park.
Oh,
Okay.
yes.
And one day, a few years ago, I was in Japan, and I went to I heard my favorite anime's theme song go off. Dun 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 dun. So I look around and I see a sign. It's pointing upwards, up this building. It's like 4th floor, One Piece. So I go up the 4 floors and I walk into this tiny little karaoke spot. There's 4 chairs, and there's one guy who works there, and there's a couple. And I go in, and the ceiling, the walls, everything is just covered in pages from the comic. Okay, everything, and everywhere. You're walking inside a comic book, and they're singing karaoke. And I sat with them for a few hours. We were chilling and chatting, and they don't speak a lick of English. I don't speak a lick of Japanese, and at some point, and we were singing Japanese songs, like anime songs I knew and stuff, and eventually at one point they put on Linkin Park in the end, and this lady who does not speak a lick does the rap part perfectly.
Nice.
In fluent English, and then just goes back to not speaking English again. It's karaoke is an interesting thing. Anyhow, back to our topic for the day: de-stressing through karaoke.
Yeah, so that is a wonderful tool for sure to de-stress. Co-regulation is a wonderful thing as well. Co-regulation is because if you can't de-stress yourself, go to people who can. Go to people who you love. Go to people who are able to calm themselves down, and you will gain that energy from them as well. It's electric. You know, you can go into a room and you can feel the energy of people who are happy and excited. You can go into a room and sometimes feel, oh my God, there's something not quite right here. So it's not necessarily verbal cues that you can get from people. It's actually the energetic of someone. So even if you're around someone who's chill and calm, that will also, move through you as well. Even animals, planting, gardening, these things are great tools as well to just connect you to Mother Earth. Chanting, singing, as you mentioned, is great. And smells are really good. Smells like lavender, smells like even coffee. Coffee can help you to be more alert, can make you more sort of like present. But things like lavender, things like bergamot, things like orange, citrusy smells can connect you to your body as well, which is why in spas, why do they have so many beautiful smells? It's because it instantly calms you. When I get stressed, I always put on my incense candles. That really does help. Yeah. Other things you can do are baths with Epsom salts. Those really help. They contain magnesium, which elevates your serotonin levels, which elevates your endorphins. And because when we're stressed, what happens is that our endorphins go low, our serotonin goes low, and our cortisol rises. And so we want to calm down our cortisol. We want to alleviate that, and we want to elevate our serotonin levels. Hot showers, Epsom salt baths.
Herbal teas
are wonderful as well. Sunshine, beautiful, and we're blessed to be in a beautiful country like Oman, where we can have a lot of vitamin C. However, funnily enough, a lot of people are deficient in vitamin C, me included. But that does help. Or even foods like salmon, eggs, milk. Our nutrition is something that we don't really look at a lot. We know that we shouldn't eat like fatty foods, but do we really understand how much it affects us? not really. We do know that when we eat high trans fats foods, we do feel sluggish, sure. But how much does it really affect our body? It affects us a lot. I'd like to get a nutritionist on the show as well. I'm going to look into that. I think that it's important to talk about nutrition and how it really, really affects us.
I heard that gut health affects mental health by like 90%, which is crazy.
It's absolutely crazy, and we don't realize that. You know, our gut is our second brain. Mm-hmm. And it's said that for the reason, you know, because yes, we have our brain in our head. However, our gut is, and the vagus nerve is directly related from our brain to our gut, which is the biggest nerve in our body. Mm. And so when we have gut issues, it will, of course, affect the way that we think. It will, of course, affect our mood, our irritability. And so talking about the vagus nerve as well, one good thing that we can do is humming, you know, that when we do that. Why do monks chant? When we hum, if anyone who's driving right now or anyone who's listening right now, and just hum, feel it in your bed, in your stomach. You can feel it there. While you do that, you're actually toning your vagus nerve, you're relaxing your vagus nerve. And so that does help you to calm your nervous system down. And you can do that in any situation. You could be at work, you could be, you know, even having an argument with your spouse, and you can just instantly hum to calm yourself down. Another thing that you can do is called tapping, which is basically tapping the areas of your body, especially your chest bones, where it instantly will calm down your body. Again, that is affecting your vagus nerve. Why is tapping so important? And this is like a 5,000-year-old practice that people do, which is amazing. It's like acupuncture. It affects and it helps alleviate the stress that is accumulated in your meridians. And we have countless meridians in our body as well, the big nerves in our body. And when we tap on the areas, it calms down our nerves. It could be on karate chopping on the side of our wrists. It could be also on the side of our eyes, underneath our nose, underneath our chin. So check it out, guys. It's called tapping. It's also called EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. That really also does help you to alleviate the stress. Other things that we can do is eye movements. So there's a thing called EMDR, where you, for example, you're looking at me now, Tuka, right? But you move your eye from your left to right, left to right, left to right, left to right, really, really fast, like rapid movements that allows your body to go, okay, just get out of that space and come more into my body now. And so things like that to just, you know, spin you out of the stress response that you're in, to allow you to become more to yourself, is very, very important. Make sure that you stay on top of things. Make sure that you don't allow an accumulation of stressors to happen in your life, because when you do, as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, they're a compounding effect. They will translate into many other areas of your life which you don't want. And one of the reasons why we want to make sure that we don't just alleviate stress when we're stressed, but alleviate the stress before we're stressed, because that helps you to tone your nervous system during non-heightened moments, which will allow you to not have amnesia when you need the resources most. Because we hear about it a lot. It's like, okay, I'm highly stressed right now, but I completely forgot to do the tapping. I completely forgot to do the breathing. I completely forgot to do the shaking in that moment in time. Because at that moment, all you're doing is you're trying to run away, you're trying to flee, you're trying to, you're trying to fight, you're fawning, you're freezing. That is your natural response. You're not in a rest and digest at that moment in time. But the more you do it on a daily basis, the more you're tuning your body and you're training your body as a skill, as we mentioned, to make sure that when you do need those resources, you're able to, have them. Or you're able to use them at that moment in time. So, because otherwise you're not. Otherwise you're just like, no, I'm so stressed right now, I can't do any breath work. But if you teach yourself to breathe before you get stressed, when you are stressed, you're like, okay, let me take that big deep breath. Okay, I remember now what I need to do.
So you'll be doing yourself a favor.
You'll be doing yourself a favor. You'll be helping yourself to make sure that you are, resourced. You're fully resourced.
What's your take on maladaptive daydreaming as a coping mechanism?
Well, the thing is, that's interesting that you said maladaptive. Daydreaming I like. Maladaptive I don't like.
Yeah.
Maladaptive is basically a response that you've learnt over time to do to make sure that you zone out.
It's a trauma response.
It's a trauma response. Daydreaming is fine, as long as you don't do it all day, every day, and just not do much about it. Daydreaming is wonderful because it means that, yes, you're in some way you're meditating when you daydream. You're looking outside the window, you're looking at the birds, you're looking at the clouds, and you're just kind of like zoning out. Beautiful. I would recommend doing that,
What's wrong with maladaptive daydreaming if you're just listening to music, let's say pacing around your room?
So how long do you do that, though?
I mean, not me personally, but like I hear people doing it, and why would it be a bad thing?
So I agree with listening to music. Wonderful to zone out and to be more, connected and to relax. To pacing, cool as well, because that means that you're moving your body for sure. Great. Those are great. But the maladaptive part is not great. Why are you doing it? As long as there's intention around your tools and your techniques, fantastic. I am listening to music because I'm stressed right now and I want to listen to my favorite song because it makes me relax. Great. If you're doing it to just zone out from the stresses around you and the problems around you and the challenges around you and you're not willing to face them, then that's when I have a little bit of a challenge with that, a little bit of an issue with that. Because, yes, we all have stresses, as we mentioned. Yes, we all need to be able to handle them in ways that we can handle them. I've given you a buffet of tools and tips to do here. They may not apply to all of you. And, what applies to you doesn't apply to me. But take these things to alleviate them. However, if you're doing these practices, the maladaptive practices, to make sure to just, disassociate or to disconnect from things that are happening around you, they will not go away. Those stresses will come back.
But it's okay if you're using it as a dopamine hit. Just to get a dopamine hit, like it's equivalent to playing video games.
Well, dopamine hits are there to exactly, help us. But the problem is when they become addictive. That is the problem. Video games, I understand people get highly addicted to them. I've never understood I've never been into that situation. My brother is. He is he's nearly 40, I don't know what, and he is still into his video games. So I get that. However, I know that also he's trying to run away from things that he doesn't want to face. And so I'm a big believer in you need to face your challenges head on. Otherwise, they will come back in ways that will surprise you and that they'll be further compounded. They'll be further strengthened. They'll be even stronger, which you won't be able to face. And so I don't like the maladaptive ways of doing things because that will make that just further exasperates your problems.
So the act itself is not problematic as long as you know where it's coming from.
Yes, you know where it's coming from and you know where you're going towards. So there's an away from strategy and there's a towards strategy. Let's always put ourselves in the empowerment position of going towards something. I'm not running away from my problems, but I'm actually going towards a solution. Right. I'm not running away from, what's going on around me, but I'm trying to find something that can alleviate. There's a completely different energy around that, where you're not running away from something, but you're actually going towards something that will help you.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, that is the show for today, guys, and I hope that people have got some knowledge around this. And if there's any questions or anything that you'd like to have further information about, please do get in touch with me on Coach _Hyesha or on Oman FM as well.